Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on our YouTube account. Now we are getting ready for the Abyssal Expedition. That is right. We already know what is up on the patch notes. Tomorrow are going to be the notes. On Tuesday is going to be the patch drop, which is going to bring Braun, the Greyborn hero. Not sure exactly where he's going to fit in, if he's going to fit in at this point, but we are yet to see. Now, we don't know if he's going to get stuck on bosses. Some it seems like you can kind of work around, but depending on the team, because of course, a lot of combat you can't kill or move the heroes to actually get by. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly where he comes in with these tier lists. Let's go ahead and see. We have Shady is here. Jordan is here as well. Ekral, Vlad is here. Thank you guys for joining me. Simon as well for the live stream on Sunday. As we know, we just hit chapter 60, so we actually moved into chapter 60 right here. We are already over halfway through 60. I've been farming this like crazy, just like I do with the towers, just like we do with every part of AFK Arena. We have been pushing this to get more chests out of here and also get more loot out of here, and also just for sheer progression. Most of you know that this is by far the absolute furthest account that I absolutely have. I want to get into 61, 62, 63. Continue to be pushing those level deficiencies and see exactly where we are. So if you have some questions, definitely drop them. Yellow is here as well as Crash. Thank you guys. Are we going to play AFK Journey? Yes, we are going to play AFK Journey. And after talking to Trisha, D2, a couple other players, we are going to play AFK Journey, and we are going to play it on the global servers. Now, with that being said, global server release is March 27th. So put a reminder in your phone, mark your calendars. March 27th is the official global release of AFK Journey. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of hype around it. There's going to be some codes. There's going to be a bunch of different things when it goes to building them out and looking at the heroes themselves. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, what I want to do is live stream the global release. That is going to be my my goal. So planning, and I'm trying to figure out a time. I actually went and talked to, Lilith and AFK Arena, trying to figure out a time for the global, because I'm thinking if it says March 27th, it could actually be the night of the 26th, depending on exactly the time zone that they're releasing it, when they're releasing it. So I'm trying to figure out a couple of things. Could you tell me the Aethys investment? So for Aethys, I have him work incredibly well. Now, one thing to work with this hero specifically, plus 30 signature item is good. Most players want the plus right here, this plus 40. Now, the big thing, of course, with this is the plus 40 signature item is what is going to provide you with the damage amplification for those regular attacks, because you're going from normal attacks at 45% increase to 90% increase. So you are having, or essentially doubling, going to a 40. Now, I don't have the resources to build them up to a 40, but even the 9 of 9 furniture, I don't have the 9 of 9 furniture right now. This, of course, just lets him and has a little bit more survivability, or gives him a little more insight so he can't be crowd controlled. Again, that's not going to be a huge factor. And then, of course, the 60 in here, this again is not going to be a huge factor. Any beast cage on the battlefield deals the effects of nature's breakthrough within its range, which we know is going to be dependent on where's nature's breakthrough? Oh, it does. So this within, so it does the stunning. So it does a little bit of damage, a little bit of stunning. Again, not huge when it comes to this. But the plus 40 signature item is really the big thing. The higher you build them out, the more survivability you're going to see with this tank. But overall, it is pretty cool. What's going on? It's Beans. When is the Vault of Time starting on global exactly? It should be about a week and a half with the global release. Now, as of right now, it's not up on the test server. We know the global, once it comes up on the test server, it's usually about 7 days. You'll have the registration period, which is a couple days of the registration period. Then they have the matchmaking or kind of putting it together. And then it goes to the actual global release. So we still got a little bit of time to build this up. Am I going to have a channel for Journey? I'm just going to do the same one. And the big thing, guys, even the time and effort of trying to run multiple channels, putting Journey on one channel, putting AFK Arena on another channel, having another finance channel, as much as I know Vulcan is doing that with a bunch of different channels, I don't have the time to do that. I'm going to be simultaneously just running the one gaming channel, which I want to house and keep everything for that gaming channel in kind of one single place, which is kind of crazy. But yes, I want to keep it. Am I going to do Journey streams? Yes, we are going to do Journey streams. Am I going to have a channel? Nope, it's going to be the same. Oh yeah, I haven't checked out the skin yet. I seen it was up, and I believe that is the first skin. Murillo skin is the first skin that we actually seen in AFK Journey. So I will definitely check it out. Again, I took a break from the game for a while because I was a little disappointed when it comes to the content you're seeing right now. So when you see any of my AFK Journey videos, that is on the test server. So essentially, what they're doing is the beta or the test server is the one that we're currently playing on. With that being the test server, that will never go to global. So all of the time and effort, progression, everything we're doing on that test server is never going to go to global, which means when it is released on the 27th, we are going to see a complete reset. When it comes to AFK Arena or AFK Journey, we're going to see an entire reset, meaning that we're going to have to start from day one, from ground one. So I don't want to put a ton of time and effort into the test server, knowing that it is just going to be reset in a couple weeks. Again, I want to spend a lot more time and effort. And here we go. So Willow Lord, unfortunately, at 2 days, but I want to spend a lot more time and effort on global when it comes up versus putting a lot of time and effort essentially into the progression that we know is going to be reset. That's one of the big things. What's going on, Marco? How much money is needed? An incredible amount of money. We're on VIP 16 in here, which is kind of crazy. Who to build first in the Wilders, especially for a carry. So when it comes to the Wilders, they are very, very specific to the carries. So when you look at Wilders specifically in the tower, some of the big carries, and depending on exactly how much you're going to do in there, Orin is a huge carry. When you look at when I went through the Wilder Tower, even on some of my newer accounts that I used to run, Orin was an absolute monster when it comes to early. Does a lot of burst damage, but also does a lot of crowd control in there. Your two Awakened heroes, Athalia and, of course, the Awakened version of Solus, will do incredibly well. Now, if you pair like an Orin right here with an Aethys, this will work super well because he is such a crazy tank. Pretty much anyone you have is going to do a lot of damage because he can buy a ton of time with the crowd control that he offers. But damage-wise, again, a lot of these I probably wouldn't build out at this point if you were just getting in to really AFK Arena. I'm looking even at like a Raku. I wouldn't build out Raku right now. I'm quite a bit down the list. Even looking like Leica, the original version of Leica will work well. Trishia requires a little bit of investment, but even looking here at like Oku, looking at a bunch of the heroes in really this third slot, most of those are not used outside of the tower, and I don't like building specific heroes only for the tower. As we continue to get more heroes in the AFK Arena, we'll have more opportunities with combat rating power creep that we can build them out and make a lot more progression in that tower itself. What's going on, Badal? For the Super Sword team, who is a good sub for Vathiel? In the formation, it is right Super Sword team. So of course, Vathiel is very strong. He is a buffer, but if you have anyone that could provide crowd control, essentially will do incredibly well in here, or if you add another buffer. So what a lot of players will do is if they drop out Vathiel, they will actually move Thane here because he will go on the enemy side. And then essentially you kind of run down your buffers and see exactly kind of who you want to build or who you have built in this formation, because there's going to be a lot of variation in here on heroes that will do well. Mortis will do well for the buffer. Halos will do well. Joan will do well. There's a couple in here that essentially, instead of having Vathiel for the damage and the buffs, you're going to use Thane as the tank with the buffs that are provided from another hero. So again, there's a couple different solid choices in there. Even looking at some of the mages, you could possibly swap in some of the mages. Again, just thinking of the defensive nature of the hero, and if you're using, you know, a couple different heroes, which will work well. I know Yennefer is one that a lot of players do like to use, again, for that kind of crowd control aspect. Amelia in here for the crowd control aspect, even running in Demia, Leonardo. Anyone that's going to provide the ability for Thane to survive, because that's really all you need. When you get to the point of having Thane survive within combat, if Thane dies, it's pretty much game over for that. What is going on now for us? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, just pay you win. Sort of. There's a very fine line with pay to win, because there's a lot of different levels with the pay to win. If you're putting a little bit into AFK Arena, which we do, we budget for it. You're not going to be in the top. You're not going to be in the top 1% of AFK, but we can definitely make it there depending on who we are building. Vulcan is playing it already. He's probably playing on C server. So another thing they're doing with the servers is they are combining the servers. So the patch that just, the beta patch that just went up, they were putting a bunch of the servers together, just because I feel like there's going to be a point where there's not enough players. And even now, if you go over on the test server, there's not a ton of players that are over on the test server. Once global drops, we'll probably have a lot of players that played on test go to global, and they will kind of play from them. But there is a bunch of them that are kind of converging. Look forward to playing AFK Journey. Yeah, AFK Journey is going to be fun. I'm going to launch a guild when we first get in there. Now remember, with AFK Journey, guilds are super important. They are probably one of the biggest things because, of course, with the guild coins you get out of there when you're making up progression, you definitely want to go in there and you want to build out and play with your guilds, because with the guilds, you're going to get resources to essentially give you a bunch of copies of heroes, which is what we need. Where unfortunately here with our guild aspect, we don't really see much of anything, which is kind of sad. I mean, short of the Abyssal Expedition, but overall the guilds in AFK Journey are super important to really know and make progression within that game. You have to. Just finished Awakened to Thalia. Should I go for Shamira or Lucius? I personally like Shamira. So I do love Shamira. Shamira is such a unique hero in the way that she works with the energy disintegration. Lucius, you're going to see in a lot of different places, but Shamira is used in those same identical places. Even looking at PvP, looking at, Cursed Realm, Nightmare Corridor, she's being used, but I'm also using her a ton in campaign, where of course Lucius can't be used in campaign. When it starts getting to level deficiencies, Lucius just gets crushed. That is why I like Shamira. What is going on, Dave? And C server of AFK Journey is actually saved because some players have been wailing in the game. Yeah, I've seen there's been a lot of players that have done a ton of purchases in there. Me personally, I don't think I'm going to put anything into AFK Journey as much as I would love it. I don't feel like I'm going to put much money, if any money at all. I might stay completely free to play in AFK Journey. It seems to be where a lot of games are going. I know it means that it is going to take a lot more time to build up and really develop heroes, but overall, I see the benefit of just going in there, in building it out and being, just free to play and really driving it free to play versus putting more in there. The man, the myth, the legend. Look at that, Alex. Do you think for the anniversary swap event, Brutus to Lyca or Sophia is a good move? I would probably say Brutus. The thing with Brutus is when you look at the Awakened version of Brutus, which we know is now quite an older hero, we're not seeing him used in a ton of different places. Of course, Mauler Tower, he is going to dominate, but when it comes to Brutus, he's not being used very many places. Even looking at a majority of content, even looking at multiple teams when we're starting campaign for progression, we're not using Brutus, unfortunately. I feel like within, and even I always kind of go this way, Alex, is thinking within the next probably 3 to 6 months, are we going to be using Brutus a lot more, or is it going to be less? Chances are with the power creep, with the combat rating, we are going to see a lot less of that Awakened version of Brutus. So yeah, if they give the fifth year anniversary, if they give us a swap, it would be very interesting to see exactly who we're going to be swapping for and who players are going to be swapping. So a lot of players have also been talking about the signature swap. So there's a ton of people that haven't used this and they're really confused, don't know who to use it on. Essentially, what I'm going to do is look at a hero that I have a plus 30 on, which I am almost thinking with Gwen. I'm going to swap Gwen to the new hero we're getting on Tuesday. I'm hoping I can. If not, I'm probably going to swap Gwen to another hero, because there's a lot of these heroes that we used to use a ton that are kind of tied to only the tower at this point, if you use them in the tower. A lot of these, again, are not even being used in the tower any longer, just because they're older heroes within AFK Arena. Even looking at a hero like Oku, if I could swap a 30 to another hero, keeping him at 20, I would be okay with keeping him at a 20. Just again, viability-wise, being able to kind of rinse and repeat everything that we have in the towers is pretty easy, for the simple fact that we could just make it very, very fast to go in there. And some of the new heroes we have in AFK Arena will be able to swap to. Have they fixed the Awakened Athalia signature item? So as I've seen, Blue, it's working well. So that's what I have seen. I know that the slash or the cleave ability was the one that was in question. From what I have seen and what I've heard, I have seen her best in slot for damage in a ton of different content now. So I believe, and again, looking at the numbers, looking at everything, that we've gotten to the point where it seems like she is working exceptionally well. And then, of course, adding on a lot more stats when you get that plus 40. I use the plus 40, and again, she works very well within a lot of the content. And we're almost completely done with this. Of course, we're coming in, I think, third or fourth right now. Maybe we're third. Been stepping it up. And of course, these are pretty close. I like the Treasure Vanguard, but ultimately it's kind of sad because Treasure Vanguard, there's not a lot to do, which I feel like just kind of stinks because there is not a lot to do within there for a majority of players. It's kind of sad. I'll stay free to play as well in Journey. That's what I'm thinking, D2. And I know we kind of talked about doing the global release and building out the guild. That's what I'm thinking. I am thinking that we're going to go ahead. I'm going to stay free to play, especially in the beginning, because I want to see how the game looks as a free to play aspect. Now, of course, if you're, going in there, putting a bunch of money into it, buying a bunch of stuff, it just speeds up content. So we've seen it with AFK Arena. We've seen it with a ton of different games, is if you're putting money into a game, essentially what you're doing by putting money into a game is just making it go faster. As free to play, you can go through, you can farm a lot of content, you can make a lot of progression on building out very specific heroes, which we have, we're pretty good on the heroes. We do need to build out within the content. So I want to go in there, start free to play. And of course, it's going to be lucky pulls. But overall, it seems like also with Celestials and Hypos in there, they're very, very hard to get as it sits today. I don't know exactly if that is going to change or when that's going to change. It might never change, and we'll just have a hard time getting the Celestials and the Hypos as well until they get to the point of being able to use diamonds or something else to actually build those up. Stream twice a week. Yeah. If you didn't see, guys, I put out an announcement. We're streaming on the finance channel. So I'm going to have to stream like 3 times a week, Primo. We're going to have to see exactly what that looks like. But it is a lot easier to stream. And I love the interaction. If you guys have watched the streams for a little while, I absolutely love being able to answer questions, being able to talk to you guys, going over different scenarios and everything. I'm also streaming on the finance channel on StreamYard. So it is different than what you're seeing here. And it seems like it's a little cleaner. I'm going to have to see if possibly we're going to stream AFK Journey on StreamYard instead of doing it here. I'm going to have to see. I'm going to have to see exactly what that looks like and exactly how it looks. The last hero release seems lackluster. Board guide not to use. Dancers are mid-grade born. It's too slow. Even Lucius isn't needed. Did they change the hero development team? As far as I know, Marco, it's all the same. And the thing is, like right now, I am loving it for the simple fact that we're looking at, the dancers. I'm not in a hurry to build them. We're not seeing them used in a bunch of different places. Even looking at Braun, I feel like we're not going to see Braun in a bunch of different places. Now, Lucius isn't needed, but if you're looking to be competitive, if you're looking at the best in slot, it seems like Lucius is a requirement where the dancers and Braun don't really seem to be. And it also doesn't seem like they need a ton of investment in there, short of the dancers with a plus 40 SI. But when it comes to the engraving, when it comes to the furniture, again, doesn't seem like there's a ton. Are you happy or disappointed that quite a few of the most recent heroes have been underperforming? Personally, I think a little break. I agree. Just what Shady said, I wholeheartedly agree. And I don't know if they're doing that on purpose. That way, if they do like a double dimensional release for the 5th anniversary or something, I am fine. I am completely fine. You know what? If a hero underperforms, that's one less that I have to build. And I am okay with not having to build a hero. As much as, we're building out them all and it's taking time, it's really a slow build. If there's someone I don't have to build, you know what, Shady? I am totally all about it. Yeah, we need a break. We need resources, especially when it comes to these signature items. Now, that is probably one of the biggest things that kind of my pet peeve about is when we start looking at these epic emblems, we are by no means at all 0% chance getting enough of these to build anyone out. Even looking at the cost of building these and buying these to diamonds, the only place we're really seeing them right now is right here. But even then, where it's costing, 100 plus of these, you're talking 10 days of this event. Once this event is gone, good luck, guys, getting these chests because we're not seeing them, and we're not seeing them in any bulk capacity that we could actually build out some of these heroes. It's incredibly, incredibly discouraging for me personally, and I know a lot of you guys are in the exact same boat with how long and how expensive these are. You're talking 2,000 diamonds for 5 epic emblem choice chests. So not even worth it by any means. They need to start adding all of those chests into all of these stores. But in addition, and this is kind of the big part, is you need to get to the point of getting more loot. Not just out of here, but when we look at the Arcane Labyrinth and we're buying our red chests out of here, but when you look entirely in the big picture of AFK Arena, and I know we've kind of talked about this before, is there is going to be a point where we're splitting our resources among so many things that we need to build that you don't have enough resources for literally anything. Short of, you know, if you're buying Poke Coins, if you're buying Red Chest, if you're doing Emblems of Space, if you're doing Epic, if you're building your Elder Tree, if you're building your Beast, there's so much stuff to build in this game right now. We don't have enough, and they haven't increased the resources enough to really keep up with the pace of content that we're seeing, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, there you go. 180 emblems for $100. Trisha, that is asinine. That is entirely asinine to build it out. Yeah. It's crazy. And exactly, when you look at what Razor just said, yeah, ABEX is going to be a rush, but Arcane Staffs are even worse. Yes. And that's it. So even with Arcane Staffs, they haven't given us a place to get these on a regular basis. If you're looking out of the shop, you're spending 300 diamonds on one, when even looking here, so I buy the regular pack. We were actually buying out the perk card, which has, I think it might have expired already, or 3 days left. We're only getting 3 of these a day. So even to have the ability to go in here and do like a 10 draw, we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it at all. You want to talk about a very difficult part of building out these collections. They've added so much content in here that no players can keep up with, period. I can't keep up with, even if you're putting, and again, from a whales perspective, a lot of the larger players have put less into the game or stopped putting money into the game because it's literally now, in my opinion, almost to a point of a black hole when it comes to trying to build out heroes, because the cost versus the return is not really there. I'll stay with what we have. I'll stay budgeted for exactly what we're putting in here. Am I putting more into it? No. We're kind of sticking with exactly what we've been doing on a regular basis. And that's really it. That is where we're going to keep it. I'm not going to put, you know, any more into it, but overall, just kind of the maintenance of where we're at. So what's the ABEX? What's the Vault of Time? That is the Abyssal Expedition. So this is probably the absolute biggest game mode, John, that AFK Arena has, is not only in the time for time consumption, but also for the complexity of it, the competition for it. The Abyssal Expedition is awesome. And I thought we'd get a hunting field. It seems like it's been a significant amount of time since we have seen a hunting field, but I'm thinking it's probably coming pretty soon, which is very cool. I built Awaken Like at a 40. It doesn't seem to change much. Do you think it's worth to swap for Rem or Belinda? Badal, all of them are about the same. So just thinking about this. So when you look at, and again, we looked at, for instance, the Awakened version of Liberta. So when we had Liberta at a plus 30 signature item, we took Liberta up to a plus 40 signature item. Even on the account, it was about 1.5, I think it was a 1.5% increase in damage. When we looked at damage, I know it was a couple million more when it came to the overall damage. And that's exactly what a lot of whales are saying, and what a lot of larger players are saying, is even when it comes to Rem, even when it comes to the plus 40 signature item on a lot of these heroes, it's stepping it up a little bit to be kind of competitive in nature with a bunch of different game modes. But there's nothing in there, Badal, that is literally a game changer where your hero sucks with a plus 30 or a plus 35 signature item. You go ahead, you put it on a hero like Rem or Belinda or the Awakened version of Leica, and then all of a sudden you have a hero that is doing damage through the roof. That's not the case. Even with all of the added skills and abilities, putting haste, putting, you know, the magical efficiency, the dissolve, it's not having a literal game-changing aspect of building them. It's just stepping them up, and they're doing a little bit more damage just based on the build, based on the heroes. Again, that is why, and also remember, When we talk about damage dealers in AFK Arena, so when you look at, your Belinda, you look at your Leica, you look at, a lot of your heavy damage dealers, Liberta, the awakened version of Athelia, they are reliant on stats. So the higher you build them out, the stronger you build them out, the more that you put in there, even the more engraving. When you start building these out a little bit further with higher attack, they are very, very dependent on stats. So the higher that you're building them up, the better they're going to perform in game modes. And then, of course, you're going to, as a result, get better percentages across different game modes, such as the Abyssal, or excuse me, the Cursed Realm, the Nightmare Corridor. Right now, we're ranked 179. That is because I got all of those heroes to a plus 40, and it's enough to kind of push it a little bit over the edge of where we're seeing these heroes right now, just because of how fast you have to kill out these bosses. Again, it's really a percentage difference. It's not an absolute game changer. Is Awakened Lucius good because I have 360? I like the Awakened version of Lucius. So again, I know we talked about him when he first came out. So the Awakened version of Lucius, Peter, works incredibly well in multiple game modes, except tower progression and campaign. When you start getting into the survivability is really the issue that we have with Lucius. If he's going into formation on higher level deficiencies, Lucius is just getting crushed. He is just getting run over. It's not like our Wilder tank right here. Aethys literally can take so much damage. It's insane. Lucius doesn't have that same damage mitigation factor that we're seeing from this hero, which again makes him more of a damage dealer. And that's why even this engraving factor, I went out for the physical pierce. We put in the attack. We put in the defense. I built him up to that 72. Again, knowing that he is doing a lot of damage with his SP effect in different game modes, because if I'm looking here, I built up his attack rating, but his defense is being converted into attack rating, which again is the reason why we've really done well with him. Again, when it comes to same level, he does incredibly well. Even thinking like Abyssal Expedition, I feel like he's going to do awesome in the Abyssal Expedition, but overall, we're going to have to wait and see exactly how that looks with the build. I've said it many times, they need to balance the amount of loot giving according to the resources. Yellow, and that's it. Exactly what you say. We need more resources for events. When it comes to events, we are just splitting it over and over and over. I'm just going to go ahead and run through this Misty Valley because, again, this is some time that I have to spend with you guys, answer some questions. In here, you have to 100,000% go in here and complete this in its entirety. When we talk about getting loot, when we talk about getting loot on a bigger scale, the treasure trove is a massive place to literally get an insane amount of loot, and you have to do this, and you have to do it religiously. Do not miss out on the loot in this event. I cannot stress enough how important it is to get everything out of this event, for the simple fact that you get so much, not only the Poe coins, which of course are super difficult to get, but you get so much additional loot out of this. You have to go in here and you have to farm it like crazy. Still not using any new emblems to take anyone to a plus 40. I haven't seen any negative effect. And that's it, Shady. And that's kind of what I was saying with the impact of the 40. There hasn't been a hero yet that is literally an absolute game changer when it comes to building them out and building them out from a 30 to a 40. Again, a lot of players are saving them, and I know players that have like 1,000 or 2,000 of those emblems literally that are just saving them. But it's hard because if you save them, and we've kind of talked about this before, if you save them, you could be scoring a lot better. So I know you said, you haven't seen really, you haven't seen any negative effect to ranking, but you could be scoring a lot higher, Shady, if you use some of those emblems just based, again, on percentages. Yeah, so Leica plus 40 is one of the better ones. You should see an increase. And I think, again, the big increase that we're seeing there is not only the ability, which I know when it comes to single targets, she's doing a lot more damage. Multiple targets, really not a ton, not as much. But overall, you're adding on a ton of stats to Leica, which Marco is making a big difference. When it comes to those damage dealers, stats make a game-changing difference when you start adding it, because of course it's a multiplication factor. So when you put in, the Elder Tree with all of the furniture, with the collections, with everything else we have inside this game, you're just stacking, you know, the percentages on percentages on percentages on percentages. It kind of goes on and on and on. Will the ABACs give a lot of loot for lower level guilds? Yes. So the big thing, John, with the ABACs, it doesn't matter where you place. The only thing that matters where you place in there is if you're getting avatar frames. The frames are the only thing that people go in and really push the Abyssal Expedition for. You can collect all the loot, even in a very low guild, as long as you complete the Abyssal Expedition and you hit print. So there's certain quests, certain requirements, John. But once you hit all of the quests, you will get all the loot, period. You'll get the same loot that is received from the first player guild, except you won't get the frame than you do from the ones that just completed it, you know, ranking in the top 1,000 or 2,000. This one we need a Namora. Now again, a lot of players, we still do use Namora for some. And then we had Damon in here, so I got to look for my little teddy bear. There he is. 2 weeks in a row to catch you live. You're the bro. Appreciate your videos. Now can we get Awakened Nimitsu? That's what we're hoping, Clay. Still, fingers crossed. And I know you guys, a lot of you guys voted for it as well. I want to see the Awakened version of Nimitsu. I think it would be phenomenal. I think really, knowing for the entire amount that they did Shamira so wrong, I feel like they could do right by making that Awakened version of Nimitsu. Because if you know, he carried AFK Arena for years. Years he carried an entire Mauler faction. And he was also used in a bunch of different formations, niche formations, but a bunch of different places Nimitsu was used for the haste buff that he possessed. I feel like, again, they could do so many cool things with Nimitsu that I would love to see. I would also like to see them move Nimitsu over to, probably over to a mage. Versus having the support tree, I would like to see him a very heavy support mage, which again, if they leave him as support, I'm okay. But it seems as of recently that we are just getting inundated with a ton of support heroes. It seems like most of the heroes that are coming out are big in that support. Mostly completed Gen 2 Awaken. Who should be my next target? Lucius or Gavis? Lucius. Absolutely, Childo. I would go in there for Lucius. Gavis I like, but Gavis is very niche. And Gavis is very PvP. And the reason, see, there we go. Just what Marco said. Gavis I like, but I feel like he's easy to replace. That's one of the big things with Gavis is, as much as I do like the hero, when it comes to utility, when it comes to a bunch of different content, I feel like you have the ability to replace Gavis relatively easy within the PvP aspect. And again, I feel like in the next 3 to 6 months, Gavis is probably going to be replaced in his entirety, just because of the design of him, how he's built. I don't feel like he's going to stand the test of time. Now, of course, with that being said, we still do have to take that with a grain of salt. And that's kind of going back to Marco's point, because we don't know Eugene and we haven't built out Eugene yet. So remember, Gavis and Eugene go together like peanut butter and jelly. We don't know exactly how much in the utility we're going to see with Gavis, if it's going to require Eugene or vice versa. That is kind of yet to be seen because, of course, we cannot build out Eugene in his entirety at this point. And we don't even know, and I haven't seen any clarification with if we're going to be able to actually build him out in his entirety, utilizing the Stargazer versus them just making us farm these copies. Which again, thinking back, it's taking all of our resources to get these copies of Eugene because I used most of my Temporal Rift rewards to get that copy of Eugene that I wanted, meaning that I'm not going to get all of my Time Emblems and Stargazer Scrolls because I did have to pick him up. Now here we need Anastat and we need Respin. So again, we're cutting a lot of our resources just for the simple fact of having him in the way that we're building him. We're again kind of cutting a lot of the other ones. Will the next Awaken be after Braun? So Shady, the question that I had is, Lucius was relatively soon. It's about time, but I don't know what they have and if they have something planned with the 5th anniversary. Now remember, we have like, what, 2 more weeks, might be an Awakened hero, might not. But then following that, we're getting and knocking right on the door of the 5th anniversary of AFK Arena, which I'm assuming they're going to make super, super huge because that's normally what they've done with all of the all of the events and everything around the 5th anniversary. So it's going to be really cool to see. Is the new Wilder good? Yes. If you're talking about Aethys, he works incredibly well. He is awesome. Did you hear that Lilith is launching AFK Journey on iOS and Android? Was the one you're playing a test account? Yes, it is a test account, Peter. So the AFK Journey content that I'm covering right now is a test account, and they have said from the beginning, we made a decision actually very early within AFK Journey when it released. It's been a long time since we've actually been playing the game, but we made a decision very early that it was going to stay the test server. So that is actually going to be the test server, which players are playing on now. Upon global release, we're going to make a guild. Remember, guilds are only 30 players, and guilds in AFK Journey, like we said earlier, are very, very important. So the one I'm on now is the test account, and it will for eternity always be the test account. It is never going to change, unfortunately. So that is why we're going to go. We're going to make something on global, and then we'll kind of go from there. Yeah, the new Wilder is great. Aethys is great. I definitely like him. Hoping for a buffing mage that would work with totems. Yeah, it would be awesome. Yeah, the shamans in World of Warcraft. Yes, absolutely, Clay. I played Horde and Alliance with World of Warcraft. We actually had a bunch of people that we swapped accounts with. So we played everything in World of Warcraft. If you're familiar with the game, it is absolutely just epic. It's absolutely epic. I love playing World of Warcraft. But again, World of Warcraft was a time sink, which is one of the big reasons why I did go in here with mobile gaming. AFK, a lot more easier time consumption wise to go through here and get it. Guys, don't forget to like the stream. There we go. Don't forget to like the stream. I always forget about that. I know it has an impact on how YouTube's algorithm and everything else kind of does push content out. So definitely go ahead and like the stream. Is Remini good? Yes, Jack. Rem is still one of the best heroes in a lot of different formations, and Rem puts out just still an asinine amount of damage. We can kill the 2 backline. Now, I usually just literally set this on kind of a repeat on where we're at. I know some players, I believe last time we used Athalia. I know this is a way that we did it last time, which is absolutely kind of a cheese in here. But using Athalia was the first one we did last time. And I'm wondering if we can do it. Again, this was kind of a cheese to get it done. And there we go. So very easy. And if you really want to look and slow this down, because Athalia is wicked fast. Boom. Took out 1 target right there. Boom. Took out 2 targets. You can run Athalia in here by herself. She can actually clean out all of this solo, which is kind of crazy. But it's pretty cool to see. Get that done really well. And then, of course, we have, what, 6 more hours to get that done. But look at the loot. Let's go in here. I want to do some summons. We got a ton of scrolls out of here. We know the Stargazer is, or excuse me, the Mystic Star Zone is coming up pretty soon, but look at the loot in here. It's phenomenal. That is the reason why I say time and time again, Misty Valley is one thing that you 100% cannot lose or miss at any time. Honestly, you can't replace Gavis in PvP. It's most likely that Lucius is power crept. His entire damage delay is invulnerability for teams that need a bit more time to get rolling, like Belinda. Very cool. And I know Marco knows PvP. That's one of the big things. What's going on, Jeff the Egg? Thanks for joining us for the live stream. When it comes to PvP, I use formations. I use formations that are already out there. I do not PvP. If you guys have ever caught any of the PvP comps, most of those are from other players that PvP and PvP a lot. Every single game that I played, including World of Warcraft, Ultima Online, Dark Age of Camelot, everything, I don't PvP. It's something that I really don't take a lot of time and effort to do. It's something that has never interested me for whatever reason. The thought of going out and just killing and crushing a bunch of other players, again, something kind of the passive aggressive, I guess, that we have going on. But yeah, I haven't went in there, and I haven't really been into a ton of PvP, and I still do not PvP a ton. I got lucky and both built Eugene and Gavis in the Temple Rift with the teams. They've been awesome. Not the best indicator. Yeah. What's the new Wilder skills and abilities? So the newest Wilder is Althus. This is the newest Wilder, which of course is a mega strong tank. Even when it comes to survivability wise, yeah, the Wilder does very well. Now, of course, the new one that we have coming up right now is the Greyborn, which is Braun. Ron is the next one. What's going on? AFK Arena free to play live. That is right. How many stars does Rem need? So when you link them, currently linked to Naruko has the most stars. Naruko I would run with Rem because of course Rem needs time to get that ultimate ability. But yeah, I would absolutely go in there. I wouldn't put them together. I would link to anyone else. And Rem, very similar to other heroes, the higher that you can build out Rem, the better Rem is going to actually perform, just based on the damage aspect of it. Definitely. What's up, Pull the Trigger? Good to see you in here. Not to go off of the WoW rant, but you're right in absolute time. Yeah, and that's it. So I got to the point where we released the pandas. That was it. Now, if you guys, again, if you followed the stream for a while, if you followed the channel, I played World of Warcraft. I beta tested World of Warcraft, not to say how old I am, but yeah, we beta tested World of Warcraft when it came out, which was kind of crazy. But that was a long time ago. What's going on, Sebastian? Free-to-play account has been kind of sucking as of now. Haven't done a ton in a while. And Ogbo is here as well. I might have missed him in there. But definitely the Nightmare Corridor, a lot of videos we used to get from the Chinese servers. Haven't seen as many as of lately. But let's go ahead, and I believe Ogbo is free to play, if I'm remembering. Yes, that's what I thought. I can't remember the in-game names from the games we have here. But let's go ahead and pop these open. We'll do some summons. And look, there is a copy. And I always call him Althus. It's Aethus. I think Aethus is a little bit closer. I put an L in there for whatever reason. But we got a copy right there. We'll go ahead and summon up 21. This is just going to be, of course, the recycles. Now, out of the current events we had going on with the Heroes of Vesperia, we did pull some scrolls. So we have quite a few summons in there. And if you guys checked, we did hit and we're well above our 37,000 subscribers. So we have made a ton of progression. We're north, we're 37,000. I think it was 37,000, 50 something already. So if you haven't subbed, go ahead and sub to the channel. 37,053 subscribers. So we are absolutely getting there. It's kind of crazy how far the channel has come. But let's go in here. We'll do up some summons. See if we can get some copies of the dancers. There is a Guineas. Now, looking at our wish list, we are pretty empty with heroes. Even a couple more stars on a few key heroes, we will be absolutely done at that point. Stargazer, we're saying, now we already have Melkori built up to 1 star. Even in here, we already do have Lucius. We have 314 cards. Again, we are saving all of those. I'm saving my diamonds. I'm saving the scrolls. I am saving everything at this point to see exactly who is coming down the pipeline, making sure that we can have the ability to actually build those out. Yeah, World of Warcraft was amazing. I love it. So here we go. There is a copy of, there we go, copy of the dance. The Dance of Endurance. That is, of course, right here. Not sure if we're going to use them, but Adrian and Elise, again, I don't know if there's going to be a point where they're going to be required or if we're seeing them in a bunch of different formations, but that is really yet to be seen. And if they require that plus 40 signature item, we don't have that at all, and we're not going to be any close anytime soon. So unfortunately, yeah, we're going to have to see exactly what kind of becomes of that. I'm really hoping the Celestial Isle rewards section has good heroes. So Latan, it kind of sucks, and we have talked about this quite a bit, especially when it comes to Lilith and AFK Arena. They need to update the heroes every single time that I open up, and the Celestial Isle is going to be up on the test server tonight. So I'm going to cover it in a little bit, Latan, after we do, after it updates, because of course, if you're familiar, we had the time actually spring forward, which was today. So for me, the time is actually 1 hour later. I don't know why we still do this whole daylight savings time, but we still do here in the United States. And not every place in the United States observes it, which again is kind of weird as well. But overall, we want to make sure that we're covering it. So now the server reset was always at 7 p.m. for me. Now that we sprung forward, the server resets now go to 8 p.m. for me. So I'm going to have to remember the time difference and the time delay that we have just based on where we're at with the time delay. There's a copy of Tassie. One more there. Let's go ahead and do some Oak in summons. One of the few people that know how that started WoW before me. Yeah, during vanilla, close to Blackwing Lair was released. So Shady, and again, going back to how nerdy I was as a World of Warcraft player, We actually were in Naxxramas farming the tier 3 gear in World of Warcraft when everything released with Vanilla WoW. So we were going through there. We were one of, I believe, the 2% of top guilds in the world that were farming Naxxramas, the original release, when it was above. I forget the dungeon it was right above. But yeah, Naxxramas was just absolutely broken when World of Warcraft was a game that was broken. Do I think Jerome is worth building to 60? I do not. I don't have Jerome at 60. I don't know if yeah, if anyone kind of agrees with Jerome. I don't have him at 60. I don't see an incredibly big benefit. Now, of course, here we have Shamira that we're building out. We have a lot of heroes that we're continuing to build out, and some of these are very, very close to being maxed out in their entirety when it comes to having a 36 furniture. And again, we're just going to continue swapping heroes kind of in and out. And there's a copy for the dancers right there. That is the first one that we're seeing. Now, every week we just farm up all of these poke coins. We use them every week. There's a copy for Aethys. And I think for Aethys, I'm going to get that 9 of 9 furniture for the survivability aspect. If we can get them, there's a copy for Shamira, which takes her to actually 13 as we continue farming out all of these poke coins. Now, Beast, when it comes to the Beast, I don't even know where we're at, honestly, when it comes to our the food for the Beast, just for the simple fact, once you hit 18, I'm not really too concerned with where they're out or how we're building them out. Not useful. Jerome 60. There we go. So Razor said the 60 is not useful. I agree. Looking at it, I think maybe it's very niche or very one-off, which is kind of crazy. AQ was the raid before Nax. I do remember that mess. Yeah, so we finished AQ 40. So again, Shady, think in the World of Warcraft days. Yeah, we finished AQ 40. We were farming that when we got into Nax. And then, of course, they released the Lich King and all kinds of crap that just kind of drove the game downhill. A lot of players didn't play anymore. It was definitely a change. Is the answer 1 or 2 people? It's 2 people, but it's 1 hero. So it's kind of crazy. I wish I'd watched the channel when I started playing. I've been a whale, but I made some really stupid fodder. Yeah, Lamont, there's a point in time with AFK Arena, and again, as we see the combat, as we see the power creep, as we see kind of everything going, yeah, it's kind of crazy. I forgot that my daily resets will be 8 now. I like resetting at 7. That is cool. Celestial Isle, have Eugene players. Yeah, and that's kind of the problem. I'm hoping, but all that we don't see Eugene in there, just for the simple fact that I want to have the ability to get some resources. And I'm hoping too that they added the new chests in there. That way we can take a look at them. Now here, I believe this one is the haste. So we want to build this one out. Boom, it takes to a max furniture right there. And then this one, we're going to do the same. We're going to strengthen this, the attack rating and haste. Boom, max furniture right there. Now the rest of this, not really going to make a very big difference. Now in here, I forget which one we were building. Let's see. So here we got crit damage. What else is actually offered here? We have crit block rating. And then this first, oh, I didn't even look. Oh, well, we got this one with tenacity. So the crowd control probably should have went with the hanging furniture. But again, I'm going to have to look to see exactly what the recommendations on there. Now, like we were saying earlier with Aethys, I believe with the 2 cards on the table, wish list, he is at 7. So we are going to finish him out. And I'm going to, again, damage mitigation wise, that is going to work incredibly well with him being done. Boom, 2 more pieces of furniture right there, giving him the 9 of 9. So we have another hero, which is 9 of 9, and we're almost to 1,000 furniture, which is kind of crazy to think. But I'm going to swap him out. I'm going to drop Lucius in here, just like we did before. And again, this is going to be the rotation. Almost all the heroes in here are the damage dealing heroes, are kind of the best in slot when you look at a bunch of different content. But we'll continue to just really build these out and continue to summon these. Now, of course, when we look at our showroom, we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 5, we have 12 already for Eugene. Again, not knowing exactly what the usefulness is going to be used for. Yeah, the best for Shamira was HP, but I don't think any of them have the additional HP in there. I'll have to check. We built her up quite a bit. We also got some more of the HP built. We actually built up quite a bit more of the engraving in there. These, of course, we're going to have to go in and recycle. But like I was saying with Beast Ground, we're at what, 1300 again. We're just going to go ahead. I'm going to drop these summons in here. And I'm not really too concerned. There is a moth on what we're getting in here. There's another copy of our Slumbering Seal. Slumbering Seal, still broken. Still another beast that is broken into a lot of different content. There's another seal. And we're just going to go through and build them. Like I said, I'm not really hugely concerned once we get to the certain point of building all of these up. We're just going to keep using all of the food in there and just essentially keep building everyone. Now, of course, when it comes to our library, have everyone built. We're leveling up the tank tree. Everything else is at 202 already. So honestly, ready for the Abyssal Expedition. Looking to get another hero up to the 40, which I don't want to use my red chest to get him to a 40. But it seems like this might be one of the only ways to get them. Also, we do have the signature swap again. That is kind of going on right there. But we have 47, we have 241. We still need 300 to get that hero from a 20 to a 30. So going to make a big difference. Should I bring my hero to Mythic from Elite for the later chapters? Yes, and it's beans. That's exactly where people start to build her. So when essentially with Mahira, because she is still used in the towers, she's still used in campaign formations, you'll get to the point where you have to build her out a little bit higher because of the survivability. That is the thing also with this. When you look at the energy recovery, the plus 30 on her actually does pretty well because you're adding additional energy. Additional energy, of course, is going to trigger the ultimate, which is the only reason why players run her, is the mesmerize ability. And also with building her up to Mythic, you're going to have a lot more of the survivability. It's just, and there you go. So there you go. Marco even says it works at Elite. It's just really about the timing. So again, we've kind of talked about this a few times, is when it comes to Thorin, when it comes to Mahira, when it comes to a bunch of different heroes, it might be the difference if you have a Mahira built up a little bit higher, that you're not doing as many auto battles or as many repeats just based on the build of the hero. Let's go ahead and 4x this. I'm going to let it run. Again, we're in 60-36, making a lot more progression in here. And I think we got about 10 more minutes of the stream, so definitely pop in those questions if you have them. I want to make sure that we do the give back. Now, of course, we hit 37,000 subscribers, so I'm going to gift the memberships. That should pop up in just a minute. And I'm super stoked, guys. 37,000 memberships is kind of crazy. So let's go ahead. We'll pop that in there. It'll pop up in just a minute for those memberships. And of course, anyone in the live chat, congratulations for the gifting of the memberships. And we did 5 for this stream because, of course, celebration for what we have going on right now with the 37,000 subscribers. So we got Marco, Vlad, Soul, Ken, and Hello there is a subscriber to the channel. So congratulations, guys. There is the gifting of the membership. Now, of course, here we have the Thorn Cheese. Can't take out our shielded Ninja Turtle right there. So it definitely takes a little bit. When is the ABAX? So is it going to be the same? So it's going to be the same as the last one, Neo. The thing that's changing with the Abyssal Expedition is now we have a couple new heroes. So that's going to be interesting to see exactly what that is going to look like. Just based on, you know, the ability to have a couple new heroes in there. We have a new tank. We have the awakened version of Lucius. It is the same hero. However, they did change the HP. So I know we're going to have to see exactly. And a lot of players were saying the new Abyssal Expedition is going to just be an entire race because of the HP that they changed. So it's going to be kind of crazy. I just pulled Awakened Baden from normal draws. Congratulations. That one guy, that is awesome. Anytime that you pull an Awakened hero from the normal draws is awesome. It is very, very cool to see. That is one that you don't have to pull. Still waiting for the Ascended Eugene. Yes, I have all the furniture just like we seen a second ago. I am waiting for Eugene in his entirety. We have everything ready to go. Just waiting to see him built up. And again, we're going to have to see the utility because if we get him up to Ascended, is Eugene going to make a difference in the Abyssal Expedition? We don't know. Is there going to be, and I think we won. Boom, Thorin died at the same time. That was a double kill right there with Orin and Thorin. They both died right at the exact same time, which is awesome. I don't even remember the last ABAX. Is that the one? Yes, that's where you fly up, Trisha. Yep. Not a current big. A fan of the ABAX. So the map, I agree with you, Connor. I'm not a huge fan of the map. Last time, I think the last ABAX, we went underground. If you guys remember that one, we did the water one a while. We also did, again, this is the one where you got to build the airship. You got to fly up. I feel like in this one, Trisha, and I don't know if you feel the same, that there's too much going on. There's too many moving parts within the Abyssal Expedition. That is the reason why I'm not a huge fan of it, because I think for a lot of players, especially if you're newer to AFK Arena, it's incredibly difficult. And also the pathing. That's the other part that I don't like, is there's so many different cities and towns and villages and things that are built behind the green. They needed to color it a little different or do the map different. I don't like how it's built, because to even get around to some places, you can't. And I think it's just an absolute pain in the butt. When you're looking at different ways that the map, you kind of interact with the map with the stone bricks and building things. Yeah, there's way too much. Is AFK Journey more or less than AFK or than Arena? It's a different game, Neil. And honestly, with the open world exploration, AFK Journey, and I like AFK Journey a lot for the different game modes, for the boss farming, for the guild aspect. There are so many really cool things in AFK Journey that AFK Arena does not possess. There's, of course, some places that we don't like for instance, the Labyrinth. As much as I don't like the Labyrinth in AFK Arena, I don't like the Labyrinth in AFK Journey. It's a game mode, again, that I feel like they're going to just get to a point and probably auto like they have for the other ones. But yeah, I don't like the open world exploration. And I know that is a lot of AFK Journey. It's pretty cool, but I feel like some of it just kind of gets tedious wandering around the map, especially when you're going back and forth with the map. Is it more AFK or less AFK? It is more. It is by far more AFK with AFK Journey. You can go in there and you're pretty limited to what you can do in AFK Journey right now. Now, again, if you remember AFK Arena 5 years ago, AFK Arena was super AFK. It was literally, like they said, relax and chill. You don't have to play it all the time. As of this point, AFK Journey or AFK Arena is a lot. They have added so much content to AFK Arena. Again, this game upon release used to be very, very chill. You could log in here usually every couple hours, maybe once or twice a day was all that I was going in here and doing on a regular basis. And then, of course, it has come to this. So yeah, AFK Journey is a super relaxed, super chill game, which again, this one was when it came out. You add in 15 other game modes with 100 different variations. The AFK out of AFK Arena is kind of gone at this point, especially if you want to be competitive. But yes, it is definitely AFK. When I play Journey, you can go in again, you can farm up a couple things once you do your attacks in the arena, once you go through the Labyrinth. Yes, and that's it. So the Labyrinth definitely needed a lot. I have Baden, Solus, Matria, Brutus, E60, and Athalia. I'm going for Shamira. Shamira is a good choice. Vita, I would absolutely go in there for Shamira. Shamira is a very, very solid choice. And even looking here with a mega level deficiency, works incredibly well. This is kind of a game mode or a team that we have been running for a long time. This team works incredibly well running the combination. And of course, this team is kind of pivotal when it comes to Demia. Demia is really the heart of this because you can't kill our heroes because of the buff that Demia has up, giving essentially Belinda time to ult, and everybody else, even if they do die, Shamira keeps them alive. It's a pretty broken comp in here. Yeah, I agree with you, Yellow. The Labyrinth needs to be updated for sure. Again, that's probably one of the game modes that I find pretty tedious is the Labyrinth itself, especially in there. Yeah, the SI40 on Shamira is a beast. It is a monster when it comes to energy disintegration. And of course, that goes hand in hand with PvP. Can't really do much damage in PvP aspect if Shamira locks down your energy. I love how they built her. And again, that is the reason why we've kind of talked about, and I hope, fingers crossed, that we see that exact same thing with the awakened version of Nimitsu. If it's going to be Nimitsu, I would love to see it and really going on there. Any tips on the Temple Rift? So the Temple Rift is really about time. So let's go through, let's finish this one out. I'll show you the Temple Rift. So the big thing with the Rift is really the timing. So if you're trying to really, Lamont is going through there and pushing the Temple Rift as much as possible is really the by far the best way to do it. So the Temple Rift, every single week, going through here and pushing the Temple Rift as far as possible. The Temple Rift has kind of built-in barriers, but when you look at Trade Enhancer, this is the only thing that you need to actually put resources into. You don't need any of these. Even looking at the room, you don't need any of these. Even if we went through here and we reset, which I don't think it'll let me because we have one open, progression is there. If you put it all in Trade Enhancer, that is all you need. With the season still being, what, 53 days in, it's just going to be consistent progression with a good team. As you're building up Trade Enhancer every single day, even when you reset a run, you're going to have the ability to move through a ton of this just based on getting a higher Trade Enhancer. And then, of course, you're going to be able to get a lot of resources and buying the cards out of here, but it just takes time. Normally on my free-to-play account, I can hit floor 300, usually within probably the last 2 or 3 weeks of the Temple Rift, because again, when you think about this, you're talking another 50 days or 40 days. 40 days of Fountain of Time farming is going to give you a ton of levels within the beacon, which is going to in turn give you a ton of levels in Trade Enhancer. If you're racing to go through and actually finish out the Temple Rift very, very fast, you're just going to have to overpower it with strong built heroes. That's really it. Last one, is it worth finishing Orthos from the Challenger store? Not really. So even looking at the Challenger store, is Orthos worth it? I don't use them anywhere at the point, and I even swapped off, I think I swapped off the engraving on him. I don't use Orthos anywhere, Neo. So unfortunately, he is just backseated right now. I don't know if in the future we could possibly see him used in a different formation or anything. But again, he's a hero I'm not using anywhere. Yeah, and even red chests from the Challenger store are so expensive in comparison. Might as well build Orthos. And my thought with that, Marco, is why put all of the resources into a hero if you never use them? That's kind of the big thing. Even why I don't like building them like the one-off heroes from different places. So even here, the red chests, yes, in here are definitely expensive, but to spend a ton of resources, and I mean, you're talking Challenger store, if you're building out the hero, it's going to be kind of crazy if you're building out Orthos, because you are talking months. If you're building Orthos, if you're building any of these just from the store themselves, you are talking months and months and months and months to get enough copies to get Orthos even viable. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it as much as I would love to have, or, is he worth building? I don't use him. I don't use Orthos anywhere. Even when you go through, we used to use him for Taylene. I think at this point, and again, thinking, the next 3 to 6 months, is he going to be used anywhere? Probably not. I don't see him, again, just kind of based on the builds and everything else. I don't think Orthos is going to be used anywhere. I could be wrong. He could be niche, but again, the time and effort it's going to take you to build him out of there, it's going to take forever. It's going to take forever to get as many copies as you need of the hero. I mean, you're talking 8 copies, 250,000 Challenger coins every single time. Yeah, it's crazy. Should I get Alna just from the store? Also stargazing. So if you have all of the heroes built, I would probably, you could go in there with Alna and build it a little bit further, but overall, Alna is a strong priority to get to Ascended for the furniture. Yeah, but you could wait. You could essentially wait and just build Alna slowly. Again, you're trying to get her to Ascended because when you look at priority heroes, if you have everyone built, sure, go ahead and build her. Or you can save your diamonds and your Stargazer scrolls for the next heroes that are coming, because overall, she is effective in quite a few different game modes. But is she a 100% required? Not really. There's going to be a lot of places that you use her. PvP, of course, you're going to use her. But yeah, I mean, it depends who you have built, really. Just slap on his collection. Yeah, and it's good enough. There you go. Yeah, New Wilder is awesome. Like we said right here, we finally got that 9 of 9 furniture, which of course, going to give him a little bit more insight in there. Also giving him, of course, the bonus of having that furniture built. I like him. I like Athos. I like the survivability as a tank. He is just a monster. And then you couple it with a lot of crowd control. He works incredibly well. He does work very, very well. On here, you get pinged from this literally pretty much all day long. There we go. So there we are, a treasure expert, which I think that is 5 stars. I think that's as far as it goes. So all of these are just going to be for naught because they are kind of wasted at this point. But we got another chest out of there, which again, the accumulation of everything that you get in here. So let's see, get out of the shop, get out of the shop, get out of the shop. These we're not worried because we're at 18. Red chest, it is very easy to discern exactly what we're getting out of there and how we're building these. Stockpiling red chest, but we got, again, new event that is coming up, the Celestial Isles. Even here, it's a few days off here. So it is coming up, I believe, on the test server tonight, Celestial Isles. I want to see what heroes are available. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they just didn't put it on repeat with crappy heroes, which would kind of suck to see it again. All right, guys, I know we're a few minutes over, but thank you guys so much for joining me for the live stream. Absolutely love coming in here and being able to talk to you guys about AFK Arena. It is awesome. 60-40, I'm going to go ahead and continue progression in here. We want to get through 60. We're following GXS on a regular basis to go through here so we can actually farm up a couple more of those epic chests as we're getting for completing progression in here. But that will do it for Sunday stream. Again, all the love and support for the channel. We're over 37,000 subscribers and it is continuing on a regular basis, which is absolutely amazing to see. Have a lot more that is coming. Again, mark your calendars or your phones. It is going to be the 27th. March 27th is the global release of AFK Journey. So it's right around the corner with everything that is going on. So again, thanks for joining us for the live stream. And as always, thank you guys for watching.